Hello, I'm speaking about capital rationing in this video. Remember, we've been looking at all sort of concepts that can come up in your NPV calculation. I want to cover every possibility such that when you see any NPV question, you can deal with it. So in this video, I'm going to be addressing capital rationing. And what is capital rationing? Remember, we said asset is equals to liability plus equity, which we have been talking about for a long time, that this asset can be financed by using liability or by using equity. So which means this part is our funding part, and this part is the investment part. Yeah, funding is also the same as capital. So just like you have been taught since your days in management accounting F2, there is always limited resources. And a very popular one is, for an example, your capital. I'm sure you know that you can never have enough money. Even if you have $10 billion today, you want more so that you can put it in something else. So you always want more. So what we are looking at in this part of this video is a situation whereby you have capital. However, this capital is not sufficient for the available investment opportunity. For the investment opportunities available. In that case, you need to squeeze out the best value from the available capital. And what are we saying in variable? We're saying that you definitely have to be sure that you are putting your money in a place where you can get the best available value. So you have investment A, you have investment B, you have investment C, you have investment D. All of these investments are giving you positive NPV. They are giving you positive NPV, which means they are all good. They are all good investment. But the question is, investment A, B, C, D will not come free of charge. They will come at different costs. A might cost 30, B might cost 40, C might cost 50, D might cost 60. So do you have all this money to embark on all of this investment? The answer will always be no. You will never have enough. So the question is now, how do you decide on which investment should you do based on the available capital, based on the available funding? Which investment should you do? And obviously, you want to do investment that gives the higher NPV. But that is easier said. Let me give you an example, a scenario. We have investment A, investment B. Investment A is going to cost you 100 million. Investment B will cost you 80 million. But investment A is giving NPV of 50. Investment B is giving NPV of 40. What investment will you do? Naturally speaking, you will say, since this is giving higher NPV, you should do investment A. But no, you cannot consider NPV in isolation of the cost. Because if you are going to invest 100 and get 50, and you are going to invest just 80 and get 40, you rather want to be sure which one is better. To make it pretty very easy, let me not use 80. I don't want to use 80. I'm going to use 60. Right. So the cost of B is 60 and it's given NPV of 40. So you can't look at NPV in isolation. No, you can't look at it in isolation. You now need to consider the input. So invariably, what you are saying is that it's not only higher NPV, but higher NPV per dollar spent. So which means you are looking for investment that will give you a higher NPV for every $1 you spend. And that is the concept of profitability index. And that is, if you check your formula, the probability index formula is simply NPV divided by cost of investment. So you can see, you don't have to memorize the formula. It just makes sense to know that the best investment is investment that gives you the higher NPV per dollar you spend on that investment. So what you're saying is that profitability index is a way to decide on which investment to take. So which means you select investment that has higher profitability index. And that is what we'll be using in this capital rationing concept. Every time you have given options of investment and the question is asking you which of the investments should the company choose based on the available fund, then you need to calculate profitability index for all the options available and select all the investments that have higher profitability index. So you need to rank and select the higher probability index investment until you exhaust your funding. Once you exhaust your funding, there's nothing you can do. You just need to leave the rest, all the other opportunities. Right. And there are two types of capital rationing. And these types is based on the cost of the limitation. What is causing the limitation in fund availability? There is what we call the soft rationing, and there is what we call the hard capital rationing. Soft capital rationing is when the cost is internal factor, which means it's either the management or the shareholder that is stopping us from spending money. We don't have money available because of internal decision. But the hard rationing means the cost is external. Usually the bank refuses to give us the fund. Yeah. So if you take for instance, let's look at soft rationing. What are the things that can cause soft rationing? You can have things like maybe management doesn't have skills, so things like lack of management skills in that sector. So they cannot play in the investment opportunity. The opportunity is there, but they don't understand it. So in that case, funds will not be made available to them. Sometimes it might just be management decision to avoid the risk associated with investment. They want to avoid it. Yeah. Also, management might or shareholders might say, shareholder or management might decide not to source for external fund. So they might take decision not to source for fund. All of these are internal factors. Even shareholders might not have trust. Which is linked to the skills there. If that is the case, shareholders will not approve a fund. And when you look at hard rationing, the major reason is banks are not giving money. And why do you think banks will not be giving money? It can be economic cycle, so maybe economic recession. So let's say economic factors such as recession. There's credit crunch. No banks will be giving money to a lot of people, right? Might be maybe due to lack of asset security. So if the company doesn't have asset security, they will not give you, bank will not give you. Yeah, no debt capacity. If the bank has assessed your company and decide that your debt capacity is very low, they won't give you fund. Yeah. Likewise, no track record. If they think that the company doesn't have track record in that area of investment, yeah, they will not make fund available. So these are the reasons why banks can decide not to give funds and many more. So those are the two types of capital rationing. Now, I think we should go into proper calculation as to how this can be tested. I've just wanted to touch that theoretical part because, like I always say, don't take for granted the theoretical part of this paper. Very important. Okay. Now, let's go into some calculations. And before I build into a major question, I always like to prep you with something quite simple that you can relate with. Yeah. Look at this scenario again. Asset A, cost, and NPV. Asset A is going to cost 100 and we said it's given NPV of 50. Whereas asset B is going to cost, let's say 50, and is given NPV of 35. Asset C is going to cost 120 and given NPV of 60. I'll use 60. I don't want it to be the same as the first one, right? So let's say it's giving us 75. And available fund is just 200. What is the best combination of investment that this company should embark on? So we cannot decide because the total investment available will cost 270, but we only have 200. So which means we can only spend $200. And that is why we now need to go into step 2, which is to calculate the profitability index. So profitability index, like we said, is a net present value you get from every $1 you spend. So for investment A, that's 50 divided by 100, and profitability index is 0.5. For B, that's 35 divided by 50, and that is 0.7. And for C, that's 75 divided by 120, and that's 0.63. So remember, step 1 is to calculate your profitability index. Then step 2 now is to rank. So now let's rank from best to the worst. So the best is the highest PI, which is B. So B is our first choice. C is our second choice of investment. And A is the third choice of investment. So which means we will do investment B. When we do investment B, the cost is 50 and NPV is 35. Cost NPV. We'll still have about 150 left because we have 200. So out of 150, we can still do C, which will cost 120, and we have NPV of 75. So which means we'll have spent total of 170, and we would have made NPV of 110. However, since we had 200 to spend, now it means there's still a 30 that we can spend. Now, whether you spend this 30 or not depends on the way the question has been worded, and that is how I'm going to introduce the concept of divisibility, which they can bring to you. Divisibility, that is, they will tell you whether the project is divisible or is not divisible. So you can have divisible project and you can have indivisible projects. If they have told us that project A is indivisible, this is the end of the question. However, if project A is divisible, then you can spend just 30 out of the 100, and you will get 30% as well of the NPV. So you get 30 by 100, you spend 30, and that will finish your 200 money that you have, and you also make NPV of 30 by 100 times 50. That's 0.3 times 50, right? Yes. So you can get additional 15 NPV, so that your total NPV, maximal available best decision taken ever, is to do 100% of B, 100% of C, and 30% of A. And doing that will give a maximum NPV possible of 125. But beyond divisibility and indivisibility, they can also introduce the third concept of mutual exclusiveness. And what does this mean? Every time they say something is mutually exclusive, it means that they cannot occur together. They cannot appear together. That is what it means. It means they cannot appear together. So, take for instance, in this same scenario that I've given you, the questioner could have said A and C are mutually exclusive, or B and C are mutually exclusive. In that case, it means that you cannot do ranking if it's mutual. Once they introduce mutual exclusiveness, you need to do try and error with your PI available, right? So ranking alone cannot help you with mutual exclusiveness, but you must also do try and error. So let's play with one. Same question. Assume B and C are mutually exclusive. In that case, it means you will have two possibilities. There will be two groups. There will be group B and there will be group C, because they cannot stay together. So if you have group B and group C, it means that you can, and we are looking at three investments, ABC. So which means you can have A here and you can have A here. So the question is BA and CA, which one will give higher NPV, and that will be your choice. So, and the total amount you see have is 200. So which means you can now go into your cost and NPV. So if you do between B and A, which one will you do first? Then you now check your ranking. Between B and A, you will do B first, because it still ranks better than A. So B will be done first, which means you will do 50 and get 35. Yeah, which is B. Then if you do A, A will cost 100 and you get 50. So which means you get 85 here and you have spent 150. Then the other group is the group C. Similar approach. You will do A first before you do A and C. Let's see, which one will you do first? C actually ranks better than A, so you do C first. So you do C first before you do A. So you do C first before you do A. And if you do your cost and NPV, cost of C is 120. Cost of C is 120 with NPV of 75. Cost of A is 100, but we don't have 100 left. We only have 80 left. So usually if they say A is indivisible, it ends here. Yeah? and it means that this is your better option. Yeah, because this one will give you 85, because you're going to have money that is wasted, that you can't use for anything. Yeah, in this other side, right? But most times they will not give you both indivisibility and mutual exclusiveness. That will be tough. But that's what I just explained to you. Even if they give you, it's not like it's difficult like that. You can still do it. But most times it will be divisible. So when A is divisible, it means that after this 120, the 80 that we have left unspent, we can still spend it on A. So we do 80 of A. That's 80 out of 100 cost. That's 80%. Then we're going to get 80% of NPV as well. So that is 80% of 50. So we'll get additional NPV of 40. So which means we have spent the whole of 200 here and we have made 115 as our NPV. And in that case, if we are talking of mutual exclusiveness of B and C, in this scenario, that means that the best combination is to do 100% of C and 80% of A, because this will give us the highest MPV possible of 115, and that is your choice. I can just quickly look at another exam question, because I always like to. We can look at this question. Look at this question. Very beautiful question. You can see we have OAP that has investment options A, B, C, D, E. E NPV to be calculated, but let's assume it is 0 in this question. So that we can use this to do the calculation. The question is, only 10 million is available. Only 10 million. How do you think OAP should use that 10 million in the best possible way to maximize NPV? That is what we want to calculate. The capital available is just $10 million. And we have investment A, B, C, D, and E that will cost total of 2.5 plus 2.2 plus 2.6 plus 1.9 plus 5. How much is that? That's a lot of money. 2.6 plus 1.9 plus 5. That is 14.2 million. And we only have 10 million available. And this question says that E is strategic. You can see project E is strategically important. So which the board of OIC have decided must be undertaken in order for the company to remain competitive, regardless of its financial acceptability. So whether the NPV of E is negative or positive, we must do it because it's strategically important. So we're not looking at financial acceptability for E. So we must do it, which means in our ranking, regardless of also its profitability index, it must be done. So E is mandatory. We must do it. We must do project E. So now, let's do the first step, which is our ranking. Project A, B, C, D, E. We put the cost, which is 2.5, 2.2, 2.6, 1.9, and 5. So this is the cost. Then we'll get the NPV. NPV is 1, 1.55, 1.35, 1.5, and let's assume this one is 0. Now we need to get our profitability index. Name this as 0. Profitability index is NPV divided by cost, so 1 divided by 2.5. So this is 0.4. 1.55 divided by 2.2, that's 0.7. 1.35 divided by 2.6, that's 0.52. 1.5 divided by 1.9, that's 0.79. 0.79. Then we need to rank. What will be the first? He will always be the first, because regardless of having anything, is compulsory and must always be done. So we must consider that first before we start spending money on other things. Then we can start using the financial acceptability, which makes D to be second because it has the highest profitability index, followed by B third, and this is fourth, and this is fifth. And look at this statement. This statement says that all 5 projects have 4 years, so which is good. A, B, C, and D are divisible, and project B and D are mutually exclusive. So you can see there's mutual exclusiveness in this question. All net present values are nominal after tax returns. So which means if B and D are mutually exclusive, it means that we're going to have 2 groups, because B and D must not exist together. So the combinations we can have is group B and group D. And group B can have E must come first because it's number 1. Likewise, in group D, E must come first. Yeah. Then in group B, after E, the second comes in. We can, but D is the second. But because B and D are mutually exclusive, we cannot take D here. So we go to third, which is B. And the last one, which was the next one, that is C. Then we can consider A, depending on availability of fund. And for E, for group D, after E, obviously second is D, it comes in. Oops. D comes in. After D, third position should be B, but B is mutually exclusive with D, so it cannot come in. So we'll go to fourth, which is C, and we cannot consider also A if we have money for that. But that is the ranking and the sequence to which we'll consider investment. Now let's see whether we have money. Let's check for group B. For group B, look at the cost. Yeah, so project itself, we said we're going to start with E. Cost is 5 million. Let's say we have our balance money here, and let's see the NPV that we're going to get here. So NPV for E is 0. The balance of money is 5 after we have spent 5. So we spend 5, we have 5 left. Then we'll go to B. For B, we need to spend 2.2, and we are left with 2.8, and we have NPV of 1.55. Yeah, 1.55. Then we still have money left, 2.8 left, so we can go to the next, which is C. C will cost 2.6. We still have balance of money of 0.2, and we make NPV of 1.35. Now, after we've done this, we still can do A. We can do A. And we only have 0.2 left to do A because that is divisible. So we'll do A, but we only do 0.2 of A so that we have no money left. Then we only make NPV of 0.2 divided by the total cost of A, which is 2.5, multiplied by the total NPV available for A, which is 1. So we'll get an NPV of 0.2 divided by 2.5 times 1. So we have additional NPV from A, that is 0.08. And in that case, we have gotten a total NPV of 0.08 plus 1.35 plus 1.55, and that will give us 2.98. So that's group 1. Right? Now let's check for group 2 so that we'll get the combination that is possible. For group D, we've done for group B. So now let's do for group D. So this is group B, remember? This is group B. So for group D, the same approach. We have the project starting from E that must be done, the cost, the balance of fund that we have, the NPV that we get from our investment. So E will cost 5 million and we'll be left with another 5 million. Then we'll move to D. D is going to cost how much? D is going to cost 1.9 and we still have 3.1 left. And we're going to make NPV for D of 1.5. Then we can move to C. C is going to cost 2.6. We're left with 0.5. And we make 1.35 NPV. And we can also do A because we still have 0.5 left. So only spend 0.5, we finish the money. Then this will be, let me say working 2, and working 2 is saying that we're going to spend 0.5 on 2.5 worth of projects and we'll get the proportion of that NPV. And that will be 0.5 divided by 2.5, which is 0.2. So we'll get 0.2 additional NPV. The total NPV we'll get now be 0.2 plus 1.35 plus 1.5. And that gives NPV of 3.05. So which means we need to compare the two groups. Group B is giving us 2.98. Group D is giving us 3.05. So which means the best combination, given the information available, is to do project D, project E for sure, project C. So we'll do all of this. However, we can't do the whole of, so all of this at 100%. But and what percentage of A? That is 0.5 over 2.5. Yeah, which is 20%. So and 20% of project A. Doing this gives the maximum NPV possible, which is 3.05. And that is it for this question. And that's where I'll put it for capital rationing. Keep liking it. Keep asking questions. If you have any questions, share it, comment, subscribe, and switch on your notification. Thank you for listening. The next video, I'll be looking at sensitivity analysis, which we are running up the investment appraiser gradually. Thank you. See you.